Have you ever felt a place knows you? Not just a place you know, but a place that seems to know you back, right down to your soul? For me, that place was a house. A house that knew my name. It wasn't a grand mansion or a charming cottage from a fairy tale. It was an ordinary two-story house on a quiet tree-lined street with peeling paint and a slightly crooked porch. I first saw it when I was a kid, maybe 8 or 9 years old. My family was driving through a part of town we rarely visited, and as we passed it, I felt this strange pull. I pressed my face against the car window, trying to memorize every detail. The big oak tree in the front yard, the swing hanging from one of its branches, the way the late afternoon sun glinted off the upstairs windows. It felt like I was looking at a memory, something I'd forgotten but was suddenly, vividly remembering. I begged my parents to stop, but they were in a hurry. "It's just an old house, honey," my mom said. But to me, it was so much more. I couldn't explain it, but I felt a connection, a sense of belonging that was as real as the seatbelt across my chest. Throughout my childhood, I made my parents drive by that house whenever we were even remotely close. I called it my house. They'd smile and indulge me. It became a little family joke. Every time we passed, I'd look for signs of life. Sometimes there was a car in the driveway, other times laundry on the line. I'd imagine the families living inside, wondering if they felt the same magic I did. Did they know how special their home was? Years went by. High school came and went. I moved away for college, and my visits to my house became less frequent. Life got busy with studies, new friends, and new dreams. But the house stayed in the back of my mind, a quiet, constant presence. On late nights when I was feeling lost or homesick, I would close my eyes and picture it. The crooked porch, the big oak tree. It was my mental safe space, a beacon of calm in the chaos of growing up. After I graduated, I moved back to my hometown, not really knowing what to do next. I felt adrift, uncertain of my path. One afternoon, feeling particularly aimless, I decided to go for a drive. Almost on autopilot, my car found its way to that familiar street. And there it was, my house. But this time it was different. There was a "for sale" sign hammered into the lawn. My heart did a strange flip-flop in my chest. It was a mix of excitement and a sudden, sharp hang of anxiety. This was it. This was a chance I never thought I'd get. I probably looked crazy, standing on the sidewalk, just staring. My rational brain was screaming at me. I was fresh out of college, with a mountain of student debt and a part-time job that barely paid my bills. Buying a house was completely out of the question. It was a ridiculous, impossible fantasy. But the part of me that had been connected to this place since I was a child, that irrational, hopeful part, was louder. It whispered, "Just look. What's the harm in looking?" So I called the number on the sign. My hand was shaking as I scheduled a viewing. The next day, I walked up the pathway I had only ever seen from a distance. The real estate agent, a friendly woman named Sarah, unlocked the door. The moment I stepped inside, the feeling hit me like a wave. It was a profound sense of coming home. The air smelled of old wood, dust, and something else. Something like faint, forgotten perfume. Sunlight streamed through the tall, wavy glass windows, illuminating dust motes dancing in the air. The layout was exactly as I had imagined it. A cozy living room to the left, a staircase straight ahead, a dining room that led to a kitchen in the back. As Sarah gave me the official tour, pointing out the good bones and potential for modernization, I was barely listening. I was on my own journey. I ran my hand along the smooth, worn banister of the staircase. I peeked into the small room under the stairs, imagining it as a perfect reading nook. Upstairs, I found the bedroom with the window that looked out onto the big oak tree. I could see the exact spot where the swing had once hung. I felt like I was walking through my own memories. It was surreal. The house wasn't perfect. The floors creaked with every step. The kitchen was dated, and the wallpaper in one of the bedrooms was peeling in long, sad strips. But none of that mattered. It felt right. It felt like mine. Then Sarah said something that stopped me in my tracks. "The previous owner lived here for over 60 years, she said. A lovely woman. She passed away recently. Her children are selling the house. They left a few things behind, said the new owner could keep them if they liked. She led me into what must have been the master bedroom. In the corner there was a small antique writing desk. On top of it was a stack of old leather-bound journals. Curiosity got the better of me. I opened the top one. The handwriting was elegant, a beautiful, looping cursive. The first entry was dated almost 70 years ago. The entry read, "We moved in today. The house feels so big, but the light is beautiful. I hope we can make a happy home here. Our first child is on the way. If it's a girl, we want to name her Elara." My breath caught in my throat. Elara, that's my name. It's not a common name. My parents had picked it from an old book they loved. The chances of this were impossible. I felt a chill run down my spine. I started flipping through the journals, my hands trembling. The woman, whose name was Eleanor, wrote about her life in the house. She wrote about raising her children, the joys and the heartbreaks, the quiet moments and the big celebrations, and she wrote about a feeling that the house was more than just wood and nails. She felt it had a spirit, a presence. She wrote about a recurring dream she had, about a little girl with dark hair, pressing her face against a car window, looking at the house with longing in her eyes. A girl she felt a strange connection to, even though she'd never met her. She felt like this girl was meant to be here one day. In her final journal, written just a few months before she passed, she wrote one last entry about the dream. "I saw the girl again," she wrote. "She's a young woman now. I feel like I'm waiting for her. The house is waiting for her. I hope she finds her way home soon." Tears were streaming down my face. Sarah, the agent, looked at me with concern. I couldn't speak. I just pointed at the journal, at my name, at the description of the girl in the car. I don't know how I did it. I took out loans. I begged for help from my family. I emptied every penny I had from my savings account. It was the most reckless and the most certain I have ever been about anything in my life. A few months later, I was standing on the porch, holding the keys to my house. Living here has been magical. It's more than just owning a home. It's a relationship. Sometimes when the house is quiet, I can almost feel Eleanor's gentle presence. I feel like I'm not just living here for myself, but I'm continuing her legacy of love and care for this place. I painted the walls and polished the floors. I planted a new garden in the backyard. And last spring, I hung a new swing from the big oak tree. I kept her journals, of course. They sit on that same antique writing desk in my bedroom. Sometimes I read them and feel like I'm talking to an old friend. I don't have all the answers. I don't know if it was destiny or a crazy coincidence or something else entirely. But what I do know is that this house was waiting for me. And in finding it, I feel like I finally found a missing piece of myself. It's the house that knew my name, and now it finally knows my voice, my laughter, and my footsteps in its halls. It's my home. Thanks for listening to my story. It's a bit of a weird one, I know, but it's true. If you've ever had a strange connection to a place, I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing for more stories. See you next time.